Warning: the following program is intended for mature audiences only. It may contain explicit language, adult talk, and actions not suitable for younger listeners. Viewer discretion is advised. Enjoy the show.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the No Gameplan podcast. This is episode number 18.
Episode 18, Jim.
Yep.
Pretty crazy. We've done quite a few episodes now. It's been a lot of fun.
Finally can do a live stream, so shout out to you guys for subscribing. Keep telling your boys, tell your friends to subscribe.
Yeah.
Want to do possibly a Super Bowl live stream, so stay tuned for that. We'd like to do that.
Yeah, if we end up doing a live stream, I'm sure we'll post it on our YouTube and Instagram and TikTok and stuff. So you guys can see that ahead of time and see like what time it's going to be, if we end up doing it.
Have
If not the
guests
Super
or
Bowl, we'll
something
do
like that.
one at some point.
Yeah.
That's definitely something we've been wanting to do since we started the podcast.
Have some guests, do some different things, have you guys ask questions and stuff like that. So finally made it, Jim Bob. So
Yes, sir. Hopefully we get some more views and likes and stuff. We're going to
start doing some more shorts too.
Because we got like 1.5K views on those two shorts that we posted, so we try to do that.
I think it was like 1.5 on each.
Yeah.
And got a lot of views on the TikTok as well, so shout out to you guys.
Don't blame you guys. I mean, we do have long episodes. Last episode was like an hour and 20 minutes. I know you don't want to sit through that. That's totally fine. So I feel like the shorts is the way to go. To kind of get our name out there and to get our information out there that, sharing our opinions and stuff. But yeah, Jim.
Yeah.
Let's
get right into it.
Get into it.
Last episode, we were talking wild card results and the divisional round. Today, we're going to be talking divisional results and the conference championships. Let's just get right into it.
Yeah.
First game, divisional weekend, was the Bills, my team, against the Broncos. Obviously, the Bills lost. The Broncos won by 3 on a field goal in overtime. I'm not going to go too deep into this game because we got a lot to get to and a lot we want to get to. We're going to talk more about the Bills at the end of this episode, so stay tuned for that. We'll share our thoughts on that. I got a lot of them, so it's close game. Bills put up 30 points. It was 30-30 going into overtime, and I don't know. I feel like the Bills, despite having 4 turnovers in regulation, still had a pretty good chance to win that game, and then it turns into a ref show, in my opinion, because the end of regulation, you have the no call on Brandon Cooks. Could have been PI in the end zone. That ends the game.
I texted our friend Jacob, that's a Broncos fan.
Right.
He did say that was a bad no call.
Yeah.
The one in the end zone.
Riley Moss was the guy who it would have been called on, and he was the most penalized corner in the league this year. So that really should have been, a spot in the game where the refs should be looking for that. But, Josh made his mistakes throughout the games. 4 turnovers, can't have it. He missed Dawson Knox on that game-winning drive.
That was a big one.
It could have been game-winning drive, excuse me. You put up 30 points despite having 4 turnovers, and you still lose. So, Bo Nix, if you don't know, he broke his ankle, so he won't be playing in this upcoming week. But you can't let the refs decide that game. That's a 30-point game from each team going to the overtime. Like, that's a classic, and you just turn it into a ref job.
Yeah.
Start with the interception, the PIs that the Broncos got 50 yards down the field from. You just can't have that. lots of things being said around the internet. Oh, nice shot.
Watching a little NHL here.
But you know, I'm not. Obviously, I'm gonna say I think it was a catch, but Richard Sherman, who's probably a Hall of Fame cornerback, probably gonna make the Hall of Fame, said that in that situation, it's usually gonna go to the receiver. And if Richard Sherman, who is a Hall of Fame trash talker, never wants the opponent to have the upper hand, is saying that it should have been a catch, then I'm going to think it's a catch. There's a lot of people on the other side saying it's not a catch, but I'm going to side with the DB who's saying the receiver caught it. So that's my thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, I think it really comes down to the Bills just shooting themselves in the foot.
Yeah.
I know they were in the game. They had, obviously 4 turnovers, but they were still in the game. They had a chance to win. Which just goes to show that Josh is a good quarterback. He had a bad game. That happens.
It's his first bad playoff game, too.
It's really is his first bad playoff game when it comes down to it, because it's been, defensive
lapses.
The defensive lapses in the past years. It's been, missed field goals, whatever it is.
Coaching.
Coaching, just taking timeouts when you shouldn't and all that. Playing prevent defense with 13 seconds.
Yeah.
You should have won that game.
Could have lost the Jaguars for the same reason 2 weeks ago, but I think the really bad turnover, like the one that really changed everything, was the one right before halftime, where in that situation you take a knee, you have no timeouts, you got to get 70 yards down the field, and Josh Allen tries to do something stupid, which he's Superman. He tries to be Superman and ends up costing us 3 points, which we lose by 3. We had to kick a field goal to go to overtime. That field goal could have been to win the game instead of going to overtime if we just take a knee there.
That was a big 3-point swing, because if they just kneeled it and went to half, we're looking at a whole different game.
No, the Bills get the ball to start the half.
Yeah,
they got a little
only,
momentum.
And they're down by.
I think they would have been down by 7.
7 instead of 10.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then obviously, like the first play of the second half is the strip sacks because Dion and Shakir missed their blocks, and so you can't really have those mental lapses.
Yeah, it was just tough way to go out again. Just seems to kind of be the
the Bills'
the repeating outcome is them just falling just short and getting literally like their hearts ripped out of them. Especially Bills fans.
And
just heartbreaking losses, like the last second losses. Whether it's last week against Denver, it's game winning
the Chiefs
drives,
every year.
Chiefs, the past 4 years, getting blown out by the Bengals. It's just an ongoing thing, and it's it's tough.
I do think we'll get into it later. I do think it was time for a change. I just don't know if they made the right change. I don't know. It'll be interesting.
Not
for
too
sure.
much more to talk about the game itself.
Bo Nix played pretty good. Shout out to Sean Payton. They had 2 touchdowns that game where, the play before or 2 plays before, Cam Lewis goes down in the first half, I think, or early second half. Darnell Savage comes in to replace him. He hasn't played all season. And what do you know? 2 plays later, Darnell Savage gets cooked for a touchdown. And then in the fourth quarter, I think the Broncos' last drive, Trey White had to come out for a play. Dane Jackson comes in, first play touchdown. So Sean Payton did a very good job of exposing, the Bills' weaknesses. Obviously, these guys have not seen the field at all this season, besides maybe Week 18 against the Jets. But that just, again, it goes back to Brandon Beane, especially with that Darius Slay move, where you could have had a guy in Jamarcus Ingram who's been there before. He's had multiple games where he's had multiple interceptions, like the game against the Dolphins a couple years ago. And you could have had him in there, and he would have been a guy who has been in rotation all season. But instead, you got Dane Jackson, who hasn't touched the field all season. He got cut by the Panthers last year, so that shows you how bad he is. And of course, the
Yeah.
Bills bring him back because he's one of Brandon Beane's guys, and apparently he's just blindly loyal. So that
Yeah.
was a good thing the Broncos were able to expose.
Yeah, for sure. Tough way to go out.
Yep. Every year.
Broncos move on.
Yep.
Next game was. What was the next game again?
Seahawks Niners. This
Seahawks
wasn't
Niners.
even a game.
This was a blowout. I was completely wrong with my pick.
Yeah, I mean, I think we all said the game was going to be relatively close,
It
especially
wasn't
at
even
first.
close.
But yeah,
It was a complete ass kicking.
41-6 final score. Kenneth Walker had a career game.
Yeah. It was
It
nuts.
was just rough.
Seahawks defense showed exactly why they're the number 1 seed. I mean, obviously the offense looked good. Sam Darnold was throwing the ball well, but Kenneth Walker was
Kubiak,
running it
baby.
really well, and the
Bring him
defense
on to
just
Buffalo.
showed they deserve that 1 seed. And we'll see next week how that's going to go against the Rams.
It'll be a good game, that's for sure.
Yes, Seahawks move on. Really, not much else to talk about that game. It was a blowout.
Yeah.
So.
Next game was Patriots-Texans. This is a pretty ugly game. Patriots win by 10. I think I might have predicted that perfectly. Yeah, this was another ugly game.
-3 would have been good too.
Yeah.
On that spread, if y'all put that bet down, hell yeah, dude.
Lots of
a lock right there.
turnovers. Drake May really didn't have that good of a game like we were expecting him to. Finally have that big game where people see who he really is. He had a couple fumbles, I think, and then C.J. Stroud just looked abysmal.
Yeah, he didn't even look like it was like church league for
Yeah.
him. Like he was in a church league, throwing picks, fumbling the ball. Same thing that happened with Pittsburgh. Against Pittsburgh,
Like,
he couldn't even see the field right. It was like he just can't. I don't know.
Houston's
He
defense
doesn't look good
kept
at
them
all.
in it like as long as they could, I feel like. But yeah, they had a chance toward the end. But Patriots go and score. I think C.J. Stroud threw a pick 6 in this game too. So,
Yeah. Yeah, that was a tough game.
One
A
thing
tough
about
game for
this
the
game I
Texans.
do
but-
want to mention, there was another play, like the one in the Bills game, where it could have been a catch or interception, and of course it went the Patriots' way, right? I believe. I don't remember the exact play. I didn't even watch this game, to be honest with you guys, but I remember hearing about the play. It was very similar to the Bills game, 50-50 ball, and they rule it
Yeah.
a catch. But then the next game was Bears-Rams.
This was a thriller and a half, ladies and gents.
Another overtime
I mean,
classic.
just-
Caleb Williams, had another big play at the end on fourth down, or the last play of the game, really. Pretty much
all I
threw a
gotta
Hail
say is the
Mary.
Bears finally found their quarterback
The
because
Bears
he
look
is
real good.
unbelievable. I've never seen a play like that.
Yeah.
Or
I mean, the week
quarterback
before
is
is the only play I've seen like that,
a
and it was
quarterback.
Caleb Williams.
A quarterback's running backwards, running literally backwards, has no momentum going forwards, running backwards. I was watching this live. He's running backwards and
Hucks
just
it up to Cole
slings the
Kmet.
ball to Cole Kmet in the back of the end zone, just kind of
It's like
throwing
a-
it blindly because he's got edge rushers running in his face, trying to rip his face off. And he's just running back and just like chucks it up, and he's obviously got a hell of an arm, and just finds Cole Kmet in the back of the end zone. I'm just like, dude, this guy's
Yeah.
unbelievable.
Yeah, I
he
know.
just
The
knows how to
Bears-
like. He lives in these moments. He wants to be, and he wants to be down. He wants to have the ball. Like he's. And then that game went to overtime. That was kind of back and forth.
Caleb threw a pick, and that
Caleb-
kind of sealed
what a
it.
play though,
That
too,
was a
from
really
Cam
good play.
Curl.
Yeah.
And then the Rams ended up kicking the game-winning field goal, and I'm happy for Stafford, man.
Yeah.
That team's going to be good. We're going to see
It's
next
gonna be
week.
a really good
and
game
it's
this week.
another good slate of games, I think. Hopefully, at least
Broncos,
at least the
Patriots gonna be
NFC
rough.
game. NFC game will be good.
Yeah. Yeah, the Bears are gonna be good for years to come. That was Ben
Yeah.
Johnson's first year, Caleb Williams' second year in the league. they're gonna be really good once they
Yeah.
get some
They
things,
got a quarterback, man.
especially on the defensive side of the ball. They didn't do that bad this game. They only gave up 20 points, but going forward, that's got to be their main focus in the draft, I think. But yeah, they're gonna be a really good team for the next like 10, 15 years if they can keep the main pieces there.
Yeah, for sure, dude. It's gonna be a tough team to beat next couple of years.
All right. Well, that covers the divisional round. Before move on, there was also a third play this weekend. Devontae Adams catches a pass, ripped away by the defender. Was his knee touching the ground? Was it not? And of course, they rule the catch. Chris Collinsworth brings it up. Oh, Bills fans aren't gonna like this one. And of course, everyone's going crazy. Even Patriots fans were siding with the Bills. I saw a bunch of Dave Portnoy videos this past weekend. If you don't know, he's a massive Patriots fan, and even he was siding with the Bills, which you don't ever really see.
Yeah,
So,
definitely don't see that from him.
yeah,
He was like
D1 Bills
torturing the
hater.
Bills
Yeah.
like after they lost. Just like shaming them for like the fact that it's like a heartbreaking playoff loss every year and
Yeah.
like all this and all that.
Yeah, this
But
year
yeah,
he
I
was
mean,
on our side. So,
that controversial call as well is knees down, he's got possession, balls ripped out, pretty much kind of the similar play. Yeah, I mean
I'll put up
it's a really tough
yeah.
call to make.
I'll put up a picture of those three plays somewhere around here so you guys can see like all the differences. But Bills one looked like a catch to me. Is what it is. We also could have not even got to that play if they had called the holding in the end zone in overtime. Could have been a safety, game over, Broncos win. We don't even have this interception. We don't have the pass interferences, so could have had that. Could also had the Bills win in regulation, but it's just a lot of what ifs with part-time refs. So that's why the NFL's got to. You have the money, just hire full-time refs. Figure out what can be challenged, what can't be, and all this just doesn't happen. So, moving on to conference championship rounds. The first game, I believe both games are Sunday.
I think it's the
The
Broncos.
Broncos and Patriots are the first game. Jarrett Stidham, maybe he'll have his Nick Foles run, but I don't really see it happening. Patriots defense is very good. Made C.J. Stroud look very bad.
Yeah, that was
Obviously, Christian Gonzalez still going to be available. Melvin Williams is looking good as well. Maybe this will be the game Drake May shows out, but I doubt it. They're playing against another pretty good defense. I could see this being like kind of a close game.
yeah, I could see it.
Sort of like the Patriots last game. I still think I'm going to take the Patriots by 10, just like I did last week. I think I did. But
Pretty sure you did.
I feel like towards the end of the game, the Patriots defense is going to start to wear them down a little bit.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just going to be wraps from there. They should be able to get the run game going. The Bills got their run game going pretty well, had almost 100 yards in the first half, and then decided to go away from the run for whatever reason. So I think if the Patriots keep running the ball, switching, rotating their two guys.
Stevenson's been on the come up after,
Yeah.
obviously struggling at the beginning of the year with fumbling issues and all this and all that. And then Travion Henderson coming in and having good performances, but he stepped up big time as
For
a
sure.
pass catcher.
Yeah.
Running routes and stuff. He's been solid.
And that was the one
So,
thing the Bills were
he's been
missing
really
was
good.
that receiving back. I feel like
Yeah.
if we had Ty Johnson, maybe it would have been a little different too. But yeah, I'm going to take the Patriots by 10. I think they have a big rushing day. Let's see if I can think of a little bet for you guys. If I could do like team total rushing yards, I would take the Patriots for like 150. I'm going to take Travion Henderson I'm going to take him for 60 plus rushing yards.
I like that. I also like Ramondre's either
Receiving
receptions
yards,
or yards because they do a lot of like halfback slip screens, like where uh, the running back acts like he's kind of blocking, like chip in the end, and then he just turns around and Drake May just like fires it to him, and he just ends up running like 15, 20 yards. That's a good lock as well. I'd say 25 to 30 receiving yards for Ramondre Stevenson.
Like 3 or 4 receptions,
Yeah,
maybe.
3 or 4 receptions. I'm going to agree with you as well. I think the Patriots are just going to end up winning this game. The Broncos defense is good. It's going to keep them in the game if obviously they're up. Um, they have the most sacks in the NFL. I feel like they'll get to Drake May at some point, but I just don't see the Denver offense with Jarrett Stidham coming in and, you know, putting up a lot of points. They're going to have to put up at least 20 points against the Pats offense.
Yeah,
So I just
even make
I
it a
don't really
game.
see it happening. I see the Patriots winning by like 7 or something at least.
Yeah.
That's my pick.
All right.
By 7 points. So
And then this
Rams and
this is a big one, Jim.
Seahawks. I can start this one.
All right. Go for it.
This is a tough one.
This is, before you go, this is the same Rams defense who sacked Sam Darnold, 8 times in the wild card last year? So just want to lead with that. Could be a little bit tough of a game for him.
Yeah. It's also a divisional game. It's the third time in that meeting. So obviously the stakes are high. It's a divisional game. Obviously the NFC Championship, if you win the game, you're going to the Super Bowl. So I think this is going to be a really good game. I'm hoping for some fireworks. Hopefully get some live bets going for this game. A lot of offensive firepower, a lot of defensive firepower. So I see it being a high-scoring game. I see it also being a close game. Both defenses, I think, are going to step up, especially Seattle's defense. I feel like they're going to get stops.
Especially
but I
at
also think
home, too.
the Rams are going to get some stops when they need it. I think the Rams, to win this game, they're going to really have to limit the play-action pass, make Sam Darnold get rid of the ball quickly. They really need to get around on those offensive linemen.
This is tough.
And get some pressure on Sam Darnold, and really force him to make mistakes. Because if he makes mistakes, that's an opportunity for the Rams to win. On the other side, the Seahawks, I think their keys to victory are obviously playing good defense, stopping the run,
No turnovers, too.
getting turnovers. Obviously on the offensive side, establishing the run game, because that's what really propelled their win last week. Is they got some good yards.
Charbonnet's out
rushing,
for the year, which is going to be
Charbonnet's out.
tough. But
So they
Kenneth
really got to
Walker
run the
can-
ball efficiently.
yeah.
This is really a toss-up for me, honestly.
The spread is only 2.5, ladies and gentlemen. This is
Yeah, minus 2.5.
this is
I'm
really,
assuming
this
for
is
the
really
Seahawks.
close. Yeah.
I'm going to take the Rams in this one. I think Stafford's got it in him.
Yep.
He's
I agree.
that dude when it comes to those moments.
He's been there before.
I haven't seen Darnold like in this type of situation really yet. Like obviously last week they beat the Niners in the playoff game.
It was 41
But this
to
has
like
got some
6,
high
though.
stakes. This is to go to the Super Bowl. Stafford's been in this position before. I just see them making enough plays to get it done.
Oh, shit. They're fighting. Oh, there was a fight.
I see the Rams winning by 3. I'm going to
I like that.
say it's a 3-point game.
Yeah, I was just looking at, the past 2 times. Obviously, this is a divisional matchup, like you said. Third time they've played this season. The first game they played, the Rams won by 2. Second game, Seahawks win by 1 in overtime. So this is really going to be, I think, the best game of the playoffs so far. 2 teams that have played really well all season. Both, like you were saying, got a lot of offensive firepower. Obviously, the Rams got Devontae, Puka, Kyron. Their tight ends are all pretty good. Then on the other side, you got Seahawks. Obviously JSN's having the year that he's having. Sam Darnold's doing well. Kenneth Walker had a pretty good week. And also some of the other guys like A.J. Barner have had big years. So really, it's a tough game, but I'm going to agree with you. I'm going to take Matt Stafford. He's been there before. I feel like even though
Yeah.
it's at home, Sam Darnold is going to make a couple more mistakes than Stafford. Damn, good fight.
Damn, NHL's so sick that they just allow people to just start fucking
Oh,
fighting.
there was a
Dude.
goalie fight.
Dropping gloves.
Dude, there was a goalie
This
fight
guy's
this
all
week.
bloodied up.
He's smiling, too.
That's great, dude. I love it.
Hockey's the best. There was a goalie fight this week. I suggest you guys go watch that. It never happens.
Yeah, that was pretty sick. That was just Sharks.
Yeah, that was a Sharks goalie.
It's pretty sick.
Sorry, back to football.
Yeah, getting carried away here.
Yeah. Damn, good hit, too. Anyways, yeah, I like Stafford. I believe Sam Darnold's still dealing with that oblique injury. Obviously, he looked fine during the Niners game. Didn't have to do as much as he'll probably have to do this week against the Rams. I feel like that could limit him a little bit. So I'm going to agree with you. I'm going to take the Rams by... I'm also going to take them by 3. This is really a toss-up. It could go
It's a
either
tough
way.
game. I see the
I'm hoping it's a
Seahawks
good
winning,
yeah.
but I want the Rams to win.
I'd like Stafford.
I like Stafford too.
Yeah, I think this could be Stafford's last year as well. So if he goes out on top with a Super Bowl and a regular season MVP, well, he's first ballot Hall of Fame. I think he already is Hall of Fame,
ballot
but
Hall of Fame and in the conversation for the top 10 to 15 quarterbacks.
all time for sure.
I think he's in the top 10 if he wins the Super Bowl and gets the MVP. Honestly, that's in my opinion, but
Yeah. But yeah, those are our predictions. What do you think, Bud? You want to talk about Steelers head coach first and then get into the Bills?
Let's jump into Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm representing right now. I got the shirt on. Tough loss. On to the next season.
About it. Yeah.
I got my aches and pains out. It was painful, but we move on to the next season. So obviously the Steelers
the head coaching decision.
Yeah, Mike Tomlin stepped down, so we're interviewing new coaches, figuring out what the next step is. I personally think my choice would be either Brian Flores or Chris Shula would be my two picks.
Would be good too.
If they pick Mike McCarthy, I'm never watching them again. That's just going to bring another old school offensive scheme. It's basically the offensive version of Mike Tomlin.
Especially
again.
if you hired McCarthy, then brought Rodgers back too. Like it'd literally be the same offense.
It'd be the same offense. Yeah, it'd be, play action pass, get the ball out quick. It's just be not what I want to see my Steelers do. I want a more modern offensive scheme and defensive scheme, something different. Obviously we've had a coach for a long time. Shout out Mike Tomlin. He's been a hell of a coach for us. 19 seasons. Never had a losing record. Had a hell of a career. I'm assuming he's going to come back coaching at some point.
For sure.
But you never know. Maybe
he goes
he's done
on TV or something. Go have
maybe
him
he likes
on first
that
take.
a lot
Yeah.
and just decides to be done. But I don't see that happening personally, just because he loves coaching so much.
Yeah.
But I would like to see Flores or Chris Shula, and then obviously bring in, because they're both defensive-minded head coaches, bring in a nice offensive coordinator. And yeah, kind of go from there. We'll see what happens. We've been interviewing quite a few people, so I'm hoping it's Brian Flores. I could see that working out pretty well. He's been in our system already before.
He did sign an extension
coach in 2022
with the Vikings, but that's only if he doesn't get a head coaching position. So obviously, you guys still got a shot.
And
there.
the only other team that he really interviewed with was the Ravens, and they just filled their head coaching spot. Jesse Minter just got the head coaching job for the Ravens. He was the Chargers offensive coordinator.
DC, I think.
Or DC, sorry, yeah, defense coordinator.
Good pickup for them, I think.
I'm hoping for Brian Flores. We'll see. He, like you just said, he signed an extension, so you never know what's going to happen. If he gets the head coaching job, he'll obviously disregard that extension.
Yeah.
But we'll have to see what happens. I think in regard to off-season, obviously we have a big question mark at quarterback. This has been an ongoing thing in the past few years. I think we take a shot at Malik Willis, trade for him, get him in our system, get him familiar with the the playbook and stuff after we get the head coach, obviously. And honestly, just draft Ty Simpson, see if it works out. We've been in this situation before. We drafted first round quarterback, it doesn't work out. Kenny Pickett ended up sucking. He still sucks. He's a backup. And what do you know? He has a Super Bowl ring.
Yep. He's got
On
more
the
rings than
pine,
Josh
sitting
Allen
on the
does.
pine. So pretty insane, but I think I'd take a stab at Ty Simpson. He's really the only other quarterback besides Mendoza, which he's going to go one.
Yeah. There's really next
I
year
just-
is the
I don't see
year
that
for
happen.
drafting a quarterback outside of Mendoza. I feel like it's a tough year to need one.
I just think for depth, like we kind of have to draft him unless we're thinking about drafting like a receiver, which I could see happen. And we obviously need it.
There's a lot of good first
wide
round
receiver
talent this year,
too.
so
It's also an ongoing issue. We traded George Pickens, got a pick for it. Hopefully, we can either trade for somebody, get somebody in free agency, or draft Mekhi Lemon or something like that. That would be cool.
yeah.
But yeah, definitely wide receiver 2 is a big one. Quarterback situation. Like I said, I would trade for Malik Willis. I feel like he has a lot of upside. He's still pretty young. He's like 26. And he's set in a Matt LaFleur offense.
Yeah.
A lot of more modern tactics. A lot of under center play action pass. Rolling out, whatever it is. Oh, that opens up the running game, obviously. And yeah, I guess we'll see what happens. Beef up the offensive line. I feel like we have an up and coming offensive line. We had a really good year this year, I thought, offensive line wise. Maybe draft some depth there. Maybe move Broderick Jones to left guard and start Dylan Cook. I feel like he did a really good job when he had to step in. So I feel like we got a bright future. Hopefully this new coach
Brighter than Buffalo
brings that leader aspect that we've always had as Steelers head coaches, because every one of the Steelers head coaches has had that leader of men mentality. So yeah, that'd be my kind of take on the offseason. I could see us trading TJ Watt. I wouldn't mind that. Honestly,
up some cap space.
Clear up some caps. We'd save $12 million. I already looked at like the stats and stuff on that. Obviously, we'd have a little bit of a cap hit, but if obviously we keep him, the cap hit's just going to get worse and worse as the seasons go on. It's $42 million, I think, was this year.
Pull it up.
And it's going to keep going up. So I could see us trading him. He was statistically the third best edge rusher in regards to pressure rate and I forget the other one. But Nick Herbig and Alex Highsmith are still younger. I could see us signing Nick Herbig to an extension.
Next year, TJ's 42.
$42 million.
Highsmith is 20. Cam's 20. Ramsey's 17. But, yeah, those are some of the bigger ones.
Also, cut Jonnu Smith. He sucked.
He's at $10 million, yeah.
Cut his ass. We'll save a lot of money for that. He was completely worthless, and Arthur Smith is probably not going to be there this year. So just get rid of him. There's no sense of having him. He just Arthur Smith just loved Jonnu Smith for some reason. He didn't do anything. Couldn't block. He barely could catch passes. Just cut him. We'll save some money. Get some cap space for that. We'll have some money. I think we're top 10 in cap space right now. Get some free agency, weapons, whether it's on the offensive or defensive side. Upgrade the safeties. Probably going to get rid of Kyle Duggar.
You guys will have 46 and a half
Chuck Clark
million
probably too.
in cap space.
56 and a half.
46
and a half. So that's
Guess
pretty
what?
good.
The Bills
we
have
could
negative
make
7.
Some damage there. Make some moves. So, yeah. That's really all I got for the end of our season. Hopefully this new coach just brings a lot of energy and gets us a Super Bowl. That's what I'm really hoping for. Go Steelers.
All right. I don't even know where to start. I'm just going to say that the Bills have negative $7 million in cap space next year.
Yeah, this is
they
going to be the
kept GM.
crucifixion of the Bills right now.
There's a lot of things that this past week I'm just like, what the fuck? Honestly, I do think it was time to move on. Like I said earlier, I think maybe this wasn't the right year to move on from Sean McDermott. Maybe you should have done it like last year, the year before, when it comes down to the defense not getting stops. And I think it was Monday afternoon, Monday morning. They announced that they fired Sean McDermott, and then shortly after that, they announced that Brandon Beane has been promoted. He's keeping his role as GM, and he's leading the search for a head coach. Like, dude, this team is.
I don't get it.
So we're so shy. If we didn't have Josh Allen, this team would be a dumpster fire. Like, and we're not even getting into that press conference yet, but we're gonna get there. I just want to say that
this is going to be cinema, folks. This is going to be cinema.
Sean McDermott is the one. He drafted Trey White. He drafted Matt Milano. He drafted Deion Dawkins, all without Brandon Beane. This was with our past GM, Whaley or whatever his name is. He drafted 3 All-Pros before Brandon Beane even got there by himself. And he's the head coach, mind you. He's not the GM. He's picking players that, they've panned out. They've been multiple-time Pro Bowlers, All-Pros, all that. And they're still on the team now. Trey White obviously left for a little bit, came back. He had a great season, I think, given his injury past.
And his age, too. He's older, obviously, too, so that doesn't help.
So I really don't think Sean McDermott was the problem, especially after what we've seen this week. I think, he was definitely the scapegoat this year.
100%. Stephen A. said it best on First Take. He literally said he was the scapegoat for Beane's antics and, not taking any blame, especially the owner, Terry Pagula. He didn't take any blame for any of this stuff that's happened, any of the draft picks, any of the, the playoff mishaps, and he didn't, take any blame for it. It's like, dude, you're the head of the monster. You should be taking all the blame for this.
Exactly.
Terry Pagula should be taking all the blame for this. And then it's Brandon Beane, then it's the coaching staff. But it starts with the owner and how he's hiring the GMs and hiring the coaches and stuff. It starts with you, dude. Like, you got to take some blame for your stupid ass comments that you made, and take some responsibility.
Yeah. And another thing is, real Bills fans aren't even surprised by Terry Pagula and his comments, because he also owns the Buffalo Sabres. And guess what? It took him 6 years to fire a losing GM. Brandon Beane has made the playoffs 8 out of 9 seasons he's been there. You really think he's going to fire Brandon Beane? No. He's just going to, like you just said, shove the blame on someone else, fire the coach, and, it's going to be the same thing for the next
blaming the coaching staff.
years.
That's exactly what he did. It's not the coaching staff. How about look at your GM? That's
I'm going to take a look at the cap space.
Drafted,
right
2 Pro Bowlers since Josh Allen?
Yep.
James Cook and Dawson Knox.
Guess what? Sean McDermott drafted 3 Pro Bowlers in 1 season. You have drafted 3 in 8 seasons. One of them is Josh Allen. Congrats, bud. You've had, I think, almost 60 picks since you drafted Josh, and only 2 of them are Pro Bowlers, and it's Dawson Knox and James Cook. Congrats. Neither of those guys are first-round picks, even.
It just goes to show that he doesn't know football. Everybody's seen the film on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, whatever the hell it is, of Brandon Beane gnawing on his snack, chewing into the microphone.
We're going to be able to pick Keon Coleman now. Because he ran a 4.56.
He ran a 4.56.
Jared Verse is a defensive end.
And the fact that he ran the 4.56, it makes it easier to get him. And then in the press conference, Terry Pagula is like, "Oh, it wasn't Brandon Beane's first choice. It wasn't Brandon Beane's first choice to get Keon Coleman." That's just disregarding
Yeah,
stories.
sure.
Like, that's just not the truth.
And then
He literally wanted to get Keon Coleman. Like, that has nothing to do with the coaching staff.
another
Like,
clip I keep seeing coming up is the one where Brandon Bean, this is post draft, he's talking about Keon. He's like, oh, I was falling asleep thinking about Keon Coleman and Josh Allen together, literally like creaming himself,
yeah,
like
Kramer is
talk-
thinking about Keon, like
Yeah.
stroking himself.
yeah, he's like thinking about
Sorry, guys.
yeah, he's thinking about Keon Coleman like Chris Collinsworth thinks about Patrick Mahomes. Just oh, he's the greatest of all time. And then he goes in front of the press and lies about it when there's clear evidence of him saying the opposite in multiple different instances. I want to take a look at some of the cap space. Like I said before, we're negative 7 million cap space this year, which is 26 in the NFL. I'm sure a lot of these guys will take, some pay cuts and convert it to signing bonus so we can get a little bit of cap space. But, here's some guys who are Brandon Bean signings. Of course, he's very loyal to some of these players that he drafted, especially. All right, first, talked about it before. I love Dawson Knox. He is one of the Pro Bowlers that he drafted, but he's making $18.6 million next year towards the cap hit, and he's our backup tight end. What are we doing? You can't. He just trusts these people too much, and like I just said, he's a homer. He wants to reward the guys he drafted, but none of them have been good. Only 3 of the players you've drafted have been good. Josh Palmer, 11.8.
Yeah, that needs to be a cut.
Taron Johnson,
cut.
11.5. Matt Milano, 11. Curtis Samuel, 9.7.
Cut Samuel. Cut
Joey Bosa,
Josh Palmer.
7.
Cut Joey Bosa. Like, just restart.
This is terrible.
I mean, most of those players are just washed or just ass.
Taron Johnson, 11. Yeah, something's got to change, and they made the wrong change. If you're gonna
definitely needed to be changed.
If you're gonna get rid of someone, get rid of both of them.
Brandon Bean or something.
Yeah,
or both of them.
If you're gonna fire
don't
McDermott,
promote them.
No.
You fire your head coach of 9 seasons, and then shortly after that, you have the audacity to promote your GM.
Yeah.
Which is basically rubbing into Sean McDermott's face like it was his fault, basically. Which it was, maybe it was a little bit of his fault over the years, okay? But like I said earlier, it starts with the top. It starts with the owner and how he manages the team, how he hires GMs, how he hires head coaches, right? How he runs the business. He owns the Bills. He also owns the Sabres. You can see how the Sabres have looked over the past years.
What?
They suck.
The Sabres, he finally fired the GM of the Sabres, and guess what? They won like 16 out of 18 games. Okay. Yeah, sure. Doesn't make any sense at all to keep Brandon Bean. Well, you know who the quarterback was in Sean McDermott's first year? It was Tyrod Taylor and Nathan Peterman. And guess what? They made the playoffs. That is not Brandon Bean. That is Sean McDermott. And there's not a head coach in this cycle right now that hasn't already been hired that I would take over Sean McDermott. And I think, some of these guys, obviously, they're going to be able to change up some of the schematics. Like, maybe we'll have a better offense, which, again, that's going to come down to Brandon Bean. And I don't trust that because when has he ever done that in the past? Yeah. Sean McDermott, I want you guys to understand this. Sean McDermott made the playoffs with Tyrod Taylor, who was a career backup before Buffalo, and they made the playoffs. He was not the problem.
Especially
it's
not
all on
this
Brandon
year.
Bean.
I mean, holy shit.
It's Brandon Bean, and instead of firing him, you promote him to president. And like I said, now he's in charge of everything, literally everything. He has control over the head coach hiring, who the head coach hires to be a part of their staff. Obviously, as GM, he has control over what players he brings in, what players get cut.
Yep.
And he has more say than literally anyone in the building. It's actually insane.
It's just like so
insane.
bipolar.
They've
It's like
completely.
they're just contradicting stories.
Yep.
They're in the press conference talking about the Keon situation, and it's just
Oh
like,
yeah, we
and then we
gotta
saw
get
all
into
the footage that
too.
just like doesn't back up what they're saying at the press conference. They're just like bold-faced lying on when they're talking to the press. It's like, just tell the truth, dude. Like, it wasn't the coaching staff's fault. They weren't pushing to get Keon.
Right.
It was Brandon Bean. We literally saw the video of it.
Oh, and
Like,
also that's a great way to get Keon to want to leave. He's 22 years old. Do you expect him to be like Justin Jefferson already? You gave him 2 years. You barely gave him snap counts, and you like yes, obviously he's made his mistakes. Lazy, not showing up to practice. But like I just said, he's 22 years old. That is my age, and I'm sitting in my parents' basement making a podcast right now. Like. Keon Coleman still needs time, and you're just going to go straight to the media.
great. We got to clip that. Clip that, Jim.
You're going to go to the media and publicly shit on Keon Coleman. That's a great way to get him to not want to come back.
Yep.
That's
Great way to do that.
genius, pure genius, Terry Pagula. And I think it was at the beginning of the press conference that he was like, I went into the locker room after the game, tried to talk to the players. None of them wanted to talk to me. I wonder why. I really do. Why do you think they didn't want to talk to you? You have been the reason, you and Brandon Bean have been the reason this team hasn't made that jump. Because you allow Brandon Bean to sign these washed players and overpay guys like Taron Johnson. And, dude, Josh Palmer. I hate Josh Palmer. Cut him, please.
He did
Like,
nothing. I thought that was a good signing, too, at the beginning of the
So
year.
did I, dude. He
And
was
then
like.
he just did nothing. Like, he was just non-existent.
I know. I was looking at the stats before the season. I was seeing like, top 10 in the league and route separation and stuff like that. It's like, oh, perfect. That's what we need. And what does he do? He has 20 catches and no touchdowns. Like,
You guys, I mean,
it's
now
unbelievable.
that the offseason's here,
I don't even know
you
what the
gotta
Bills are
trade
gonna
for
do.
a receiver, A.J. Brown or something.
It's like we don't
I
have
mean,
the money.
Trade
dude.
trade the house for Justin Jefferson. I don't care. 3 first-round picks and Terry Pagula's penis or something, and get Justin Jefferson. Like, I mean, all hail Justin Jefferson. Like, just the whole house.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or Mekhi Lemon's a good pick.
Yeah.
You got a lot of good talent in the
But
draft too.
I just don't trust Brandon Bean to make that pick though, because we've seen his picks before. Like, there's all these people you could have taken, and you draft bums instead. Like, Kyrie Elam was your first-round pick. I kind of want to pull that draft up now because that is the worst pick of the Brandon Bean era. Is by far the Kyrie Elam pick. It's absurd. Kyrie Elam draft class. All right.
What year was that?
2022. Let's take a peek.
Take a pick.
I'm a little upset right now, if you guys can't tell. Let's take a peek. They took him with the 23rd overall pick. And there's a bunch of guys they could have taken at. George Karlaftis.
Could have gotten Trent McDuffie instead. Look how he panned out.
Karlaftis is a stud. Tyler Linderbaum, the Ravens center, is a stud. Tyler Smith is a stud. Went the pick after. Let's go into the second round. See if there's any. Christian Watson could have
Jalen Petrie, look how he turned out. One of the best nickel corners in the league.
Mm-hmm.
Kyler Gordon's been pretty good for the Bears.
He would have been better than Kyrie Elam. Let's see what else we got here. There's David Ojabo's pretty good for the Ravens.
George Pickens, my home dude.
Could add George Pickens.
George Pickens.
And
God, why did we trade him?
guess
I
what?
still don't get that. I
Yeah.
really still don't. We won't get into that. I just want to say that. I still don't understand the George Pickens trade. Whatever. Still love him. Got his Georgia jersey. Shout out Shout out GP, bro.
The Bills also could have traded for
could get him
Pickens
this
last year.
offseason.
We could, but
He's
we're
a
not.
free agent. He's probably going to sign with the Cowboys again.
They're gonna
Unless you guys
franchise
give
tag
him like
probably.
$50 million
He's
or
gonna.
something.
The Cowboys are
crazy
just
like
gonna
that.
franchise tag him though, so we won't even really get a chance. But unless Bean is able to work miracles with the cap space, this is gonna be, the same team. Really, not gonna be able to get route separation. Yeah, we'll have a new coaching staff, but I think Terry Pagula said in the press conference we're not expecting a Super Bowl right away, which if you're gonna fire Sean McDermott, a guy who got you to the playoffs 8 out of 9 years, like why fire him then? Just
Yeah, you want to restart.
you go on a completely
The
restart.
the
Like,
odds. I think there's been like 2 or 3 coaches. I know one of them, Jimmy Johnson, first year head coaches that have went to the Super Bowl and won it. I think one was Jimmy Johnson. Didn't John Gruden do it too with the Bucks?
because he got traded from the Raiders, and then I think he won it with the Bucks, I believe.
So John Gruden, Jimmy John. I think there's a few other names on that list, but the odds of that a first year
not
head
gonna
coach
happen.
going to the at least making it to the Super Bowl, I mean, very slim to none.
Yeah.
So it's like you're getting rid of a head coach that has done so much for your organization.
So much for the
and,
city of Buffalo too, like
putting the blame on to that coaching staff, whatever it may
for
be,
picks,
shifting
too,
the blame to somebody else, and now you put yourself in a position
I
of
think-
getting a new head
right.
coach. That might bring some better offensive and defensive schematics, but on the other hand, it's their first year. The likelihood of you getting to the Super Bowl, let alone, playoffs, playoffs,
playoffs.
might not happen. So it's like,
Yeah.
you find yourself in that situation. It's like, so I don't know. I guess a question for you is, who would you want to be their head coach if you had to pick?
If I had to pick, my top pick would be Clint Kubiak, I think is his name, the Seahawks OC. Seeing what he's done with Sam Darnold, just imagine what he could do with Josh Allen. I know they obviously don't have the weapons that the Seahawks do, but I'd like to see.
Go out and get something.
Right. I'd like to see.
Let's see it, Brandon Bean. Let's see you actually get a receiver.
Yeah, you get promoted. Like it's time to do something. Let's go.
Showed in the other video that clip of him on the podcast where he's telling these podcasters,
we're good at
bitching about getting a receiver. If you asked me a few years ago, I would have said yes, I agree. We need a receiver, but it's like he's just always bitching about that. It's like, dude, just go
and
get
do
somebody.
something. Don't stop talking about it. Be about it.
I got one more thing to talk about with the Bills as well. The Jalen Waddle trade that could have happened this year.
Oh, we forgot to talk about the conversation that McDermott and Brandon Bean had with Pagula.
We'll get into that.
Yeah.
Real quick, the Jalen Waddle trade.
McDermott wanted it to happen, by the way.
McDermott, he did want it to
Yeah.
happen. So McDermott
was
wanted
pissed.
it to happen. Brandon Bean didn't want to give up a 2026 first-round pick.
But he would give
he
up a
would have done
2027.
2027 first-round pick.
Yeah. It's
For
absurd.
Jalen Waddle. It's like, dude, like that would have helped
a
your team
divisional receiver,
tremendously,
too.
dude. Like, you guys could have made it to the Super Bowl with Jalen Waddle on
You're taking him off the Dolphins, too.
So it's like,
Yeah.
that's just another thing. It's just stupid, dude.
Yeah.
It's just stupid.
The conversation I was bringing up is after the trade deadline, McDermott had a meeting with Pagula and Brandon Bean, and they asked him, like, oh, do you think our roster's good enough to go to the Super Bowl, to win the Super Bowl? And Sean McDermott straight up said no. He's like, I don't think you guys did enough at the trade deadline. Obviously they made that move to pick up Darius Slay, and it ended up biting us in the ass at the end of the season. And like you just said, don't trade for Jalen Waddle. Said you pick up Brandon Cooks, which he was good at the end of the season for us. I think the Bills should re-sign him. But he's not a wide receiver 1. He's a wide receiver like 2 at best, I would say.
Best.
And
I mean, he's clearly past his prime.
Yeah.
Obviously, he made some really
Amazing
good plays,
catches, yeah.
but
that's where the relationship really started to deteriorate, and I think at that point Pagula and Bean started to like team up against McDermott in whatever way, and that's really like I think Pagula said like, oh, he wasn't going to fire McDermott until going into the locker room after the Broncos game, but I think that conversation was really what sealed his fate, which is very unfortunate. I love Sean McDermott. I think he was a great coach for us. Obviously, he had his mistakes here and there. Some of the timeouts he called, the 13 seconds, which was more on Leslie Frazier, if anything. But I'm gonna miss him. He did a lot for the city of Buffalo. I took a picture with him his very first year. If I can find it, I'll throw it. in the pod here, but
yeah, it's tough.
It's a tough thing to see. I really don't know what's going to happen this offseason. I wish I had some predictions like you did for the Steelers, but given our cap space and given all the craziness that's happened this week, I really don't know. But
Yeah.
I would like Clint Kubiak. Davis Webb as our offensive coordinator would be great. A lot of people are saying he's got one of the best young minds in the league, so I would take him. Even as a head coach, I would take him.
Yeah.
I think we do need a new defensive coordinator. Obviously, Flores isn't going to happen at this point now. Maybe Anthony Weaver from Miami. People have been saying some good things about him. Bring him in
he
as
could
our
be
DC.
another Steelers head coach dark horse. He's kind of a dark horse for the Steelers head coaching job.
But in all reality, I think Brandon Beane is probably going to sign Brian Daboll in the coming days. They finished their interview yesterday. So that's probably going to be the move. I wouldn't hate it as long as, they bring in some guys around him. Like I just mentioned, Davis Webb would be another good guy. He's friends with Josh. He knows the offense pretty well. He was our backup for a year. So
Grant Udinski, you're also interviewing. He's a young guy, too. That'd be
a good one as well. We
with
interviewed
the Jags and Liam Cohen, being with him for this past year, being his offensive coordinator.
He's only 30 years old, too.
He's 30 years old.
That could
could be a brilliant, the next McVay, the next Shanahan, that sort of thing.
They're saying
it could be
Davis Webb is the next Shanahan, so we'll see if that actually proves to fruition. But I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Yeah,
it's gonna be an interesting off season.
It's gonna be an interesting and a long off season for both our teams.
Yeah, it's gonna be a very long off season.
But I was talking to him a couple weeks ago. I think we're gonna plan on trying to go to the draft in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, we'd love to do that.
We'd love to
do a live stream for that too.
Live stream or put some clips up while we're at the draft. That'd be awesome.
Yeah. Like
we might be
record
going
when
to
our
the draft
team's pick or something.
Yeah, record when our team's pick. So yeah, stay tuned for that. That's in a few months, not for a little bit
down
but
the line.
That's another thing we're planning on doing. I think we want to do so. Yeah, I mean,
all I got,
long off season. See what happens. Got AFC and NFC Championship coming up, and then in a couple weeks the
Super Bowl episode coming up. So we'll probably, since there's no games next week, we'll probably release that music episode we did a while ago. So that'll be the next video out after this one, and then after that, obviously we'll have our Super Bowl preview, and we'll let you guys know about live stream regarding that and such.
Yeah, we'll post it on our socials. We'll link our socials in the description. TikTok, Instagram, obviously our YouTube. You guys know the deal. Like, comment, subscribe, share our channel. All right, we're past 50 subscribers now. That was our first goal. We want to get to 100 now. Make that happen, man. Hit that like button. Obviously these are long videos. Like I said at the beginning of the video, we're going to start posting some shorts.
We said we were going to try and go half an hour, and we're almost at an hour. So,
yeah, that's what happens when you just get talking football, and that's kind of what happens. You just keep getting on tangents, and you want to keep talking and get your point across. But we're going to end this episode now. We don't want to bore you too much. That's all we got for this edition of the No Game Plan podcast.
Episode 18.
We'll see y'all in the next one.
Peace.
Peace.